Hello there, this is Benny.
And this is Kyle.
And you're listening to The Doctor's Watcher,
the artificial intelligence podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
Oh boy. This episode, I should say this whole serial has been about artificial intelligence. And Kyle, I think you know that I have some I was going to say mixed feelings, but no, overall fairly negative feelings about AI. And I believe you do as well, even before we saw this serial.
I do indeed. You know, what's that thing about, we thought that computers would handle all of our work so we could have more time for fun and art and stuff. But it's turning out that they're trying to get computers to handle all of our fun and art so we'll have more time for work.
I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, so that's bullshit.
Yep, hate that. I don't think Ben's a big fan of it either, but before we talk about that, Kyle, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I believe you probably have a good guess of what I'm going to say.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of these things where it's I had it in mind as the thing that I might have said, but then I was also like, no, you were probably going to say it too. So tell our listeners what we're talking about.
So a week ago from the date of our recording, Benny and I got together in person. And we played...
To do something we can only do in person, because you need the other person.
Indeed.
In order for... you can do it over webcam, but in order for it to be truly enjoyable, I find it's best when the other person is there with you.
Yeah, for sure. And what that was Magic the Gathering.
Listeners, did you think we were talking about something else?
And yeah, this was because Benny had given to me for my birthday a couple of the Doctor Who pre-con decks, Blast from the Past, and what was the villain one called?
I can't remember. In my brain, it's just the villain one.
Yeah, and the villain one.
Yeah. This was a few months ago, but we've been meaning to play with the decks ever since. And we finally got the chance, and my partner joined us. They used just a regular Commander deck, non-Doctor Who, that I happen to have, and they won. So I played the villain deck. Kyle played Blast from the Past is like the classic Doctor's deck. It's got Doctors 1 to 8, and he did play the first Doctor. So
yeah, the first Doctor did come out. So did Barbara or Ian or Susan come out, or did we only see him when I looked through my deck afterwards?
I feel like Susan might have. I'm trying to remember, because you had a couple of the later companions.
Yeah.
You had Jamie and Perry, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And I think Susan might. But I also remember afterwards when we were just kind of looking through the decks and being like, oh, hey, look at this card. So I don't really remember exactly who came out. I do remember the Fourth Doctor came out a few times because I cloned him once and used his evil clone. And I remember the First Doctor did also come out and didn't do as much because you already had the TARDIS and his abilities to bring out the TARDIS.
Right. Yeah, I used the Fourth Doctor as my commander. Mm-hmm. I think next time I play, I might try the first as commander and see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for it. I'll be happy to play the villains again. I quite enjoyed it. It's quite a fun deck to play.
Yeah, that seemed like a fun deck.
Yeah,
it's all the villainous
it's fun
choices.
To be the bad guys. Yeah, you have to make your opponents make villainous choices, which are always difficult for them and good for you. So that's a really fun gimmick.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of villainous choices, you must now make the villainous choice of whether to talk about Doctor Who or, I guess, hang up the podcast, hang up the call and stop recording the podcast. Choose wisely, Kyle.
Well, it's a tough choice, but I think I will choose the first option.
Excellent. I was hoping you would.
So this is the 44th episode of season 3.
Oh my
for those
God,
of you
these seasons
keeping
are
track.
so long. I know. I think I've been saying that for a while now because, it's been the case. But man, 44 episodes in and we're still going. So Kyle, for season 3, episode 44, The War Machines, episode 3, how'd you watch it?
This serial, as listeners may recall, is available on BritBox.
Hooray! We love it. Love to see it.
And that is how I watched it.
We love to see it, and we love to watch it.
Indeed.
Excellent.
You know, when they're on BritBox, my fun watches I usually actually do like on a TV.
Ooh, wow. That does sound fun. Does your partner ever watch them with you, or?
Once in a while.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Notes watches are generally always on my laptop.
Makes
It's
sense.
just easier that way.
You want to have the website open with the transcript and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you recall what the Cliffdingler was?
Yeah, Ben's having a bad time. He's hoping that the war machines don't eliminate him.
Indeed. He's in the warehouse where they're, I guess, building them.
And they're testing them, and they're about to test them out on Ben.
Uh-huh.
Ben being our latest young person of action.
So the war machine is driving toward him. It's pointing its spotlight at him, and then he gets away from it somehow.
And the Cliff Dangler is resolved.
Uh-huh. I think maybe it malfunctioned or something. It wasn't entirely clear.
I guess it is still in the testing phase. And you heard that right, listeners. Sometimes even when we have it on BritBox and we can watch the episode, sometimes we still can't tell what's going on. I mean, to be fair, these were filmed with 1960s black and white film and all in one take. And yeah, sometimes I have seen enough episodes to know sometimes it can be really hard to tell what the heck is going on.
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of have to make an assumption and go with it.
Yeah.
So the war machine basically just stops moving. Major Green comes to look at it, and while he's checking it out, Ben takes that opportunity to get away.
Nice. Time to GTFO, as we say on this show.
Uh-huh.
And don't you mean Major Green or whatever?
Oh, that's right. I do mean Major Green or whatever.
We have a bit about that.
So Ben G's TFO into the next room of the warehouse is kind of like maybe the foyer, I guess, as opposed to like the main warehouse room.
Okay, well, you got to kind of like leave in stages. You have to make it far enough away from all active opponents before you can leave combat.
Right, yeah, you can't fast travel while you're still in danger.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You must gather your party before venturing forth. No, I don't think that really applies in this case.
He actually, speaking of gathering the party, in the warehouse foyer or whatever this room is, he runs into Polly.
Oh, nice.
And she says that she came looking for him.
She did. Yes, indeed.
And
maybe not in the way that he's thinking, though.
Uh-huh. He starts warning her, like, not to go into the warehouse. And her reaction is, like, very calm and chill. She's not, like, excited or emotional at all. She's just like,
because the people in there have gone mad. They seem as though they've been hypnotized or brainwashed.
What else did you see?
There was a mechanical monster, and it moved. It just killed someone. Come on, we must get out of here.
And as he's watching her and talk about those people in there just have no facial expressions and they talk so monotonously. And she's like, "Oh, really? Tell me more."
Yeah, she basically just stands there, like, hardly reacting, not trying to get out of there, obviously. Back in the main warehouse room, Major Green or whatever is announcing to everyone that there's a stranger here and they all need to start looking for him.
Oh, time to make some stealth checks.
Uh-huh. So he starts issuing commands about locking doors and stuff. Ben is still trying to get Polly to leave. He's like shouting at her, come on, that sort of thing. And she starts locking the door to outside.
He's like, no, we're trying to get away, not stay. And she's like, no, Ben, we're trying to rejoin our group. And he's like, yeah, the doctor, right? And she's like, no, Ben, our new group.
That is basically how it goes down.
Nice.
He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's just like,
I have my instructions. You are not to escape.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that is creepy.
Yeah. He starts struggling with her. He's trying to unlock the door while she's trying to keep it locked. And she ends up shouting for help. And a couple guys from the main warehouse room come in and basically just drag Ben off.
Oh, dang.
Bring him here. The machine will deal with him.
Oh, shoot. And we're back to our cliff dangler.
Meanwhile, the doctor is hanging out with the official dude, Sir Charles Summer.
Nice. The doctorship? Some doc? I can't remember if we came up with one for that.
Yeah, I don't remember coming up with a name for that, but I think some doc works.
Nice.
The doctor's starting to get antsy, though. Apparently, they've been waiting for Ben to return for about 4 hours now.
Yeah, I think y'all might want to go looking for him at some point.
Yeah.
And I think that some point is now.
Summer starts suggesting that they call the police to investigate, but the doctor's like, no, Sir Charles, ACAB and all that,
Yeah, well said, doctor.
That's pretty much it for this scene. Not a whole lot happens, and we cut back to the warehouse.
Not a whole lot happens except my respect for the doctor goes ever higher.
Back at the warehouse, Major Green or whatever has fully devoted himself to Wotan's cause, and he's upset that Ben's not really into it.
You tried to warn human authority of our work in this building. You are an enemy of mechanized evolution. Nothing must be allowed to prevent the machines taking over. They are the next stage in the growth of life force on Earth. All obstacles will be swept aside, including you.
Man, Twitter would have loved this guy.
Polly says that Wotan and Professor Brett don't want Ben destroyed yet.
Yet. I like that yet.
Wotan requires all the labor we can find. It is too soon to destroy this stranger. Let him work and destroy him later.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
So Major Green or whatever orders everyone to get back to work. Ben goes and thanks Polly for saving him. He says something about how, like, she even had him fooled.
Except.
But yeah, she's like,
You have been spared. Now you must work hard for the success of this great new cause.
Hey, what cause?
The victory of the war machines.
Oh, shit. He's like, could you make your will saves, where everyone can see the dice from now on? And all these players like, no can do, buddy.
Hey, listeners. I just had my hard drive fail and I lost some files, including my Season 3 Doctor's Watcher template project files. So instead of the usual mid-rolls for the rest of the season, you're getting this one, reminding you to back up your data. Also, tell your friends about this podcast and leave us 5 stars and a nice review. Thanks. Back to the show. We cut over to Professor Brett's lab. There's a brief scene here. Basically, the only purpose of this scene is for Professor Brett and Crimpton, who's like the other scientist guy, to remind the viewers of the plan, or tell the viewers of the plan, which is that the war machines will attack at noon tomorrow.
Nice. Well organized.
They are not ready yet, but they should be by the time of the attack. They are going to attack simultaneously and take over strategic centers of human authority. And
Nice.
that's going to be that.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we have until then.
Major Green or whatever back at the warehouse announces that humans who break down will be eliminated.
I like that turn of phrase, humans who break down.
And after this announcement, he basically whacks a worker on the head, and the worker just kind of like crumbles to the floor, and a war machine like rolls him away.
And he's like, I guess that guy broke down.
Ben and Polly, meanwhile, are stacking boxes.
They're lower deckers, I see.
They've been doing this for a while. Ben's kind of gone into buffer time, but Polly's still hard at work. She has clearly like pushed her body kind of to its limit, and she's about to collapse, but she won't stop working.
This day's gone very differently from what I had planned. I had hoped you'd push my body to the limit.
Polly's like, maybe when the war machines take over, then we'll have some spare time.
Before we eliminate you.
She tells Ben that all the work has to be completed by noon tomorrow, because that's when the takeover of London by the war machines will begin, in case we missed the previous scene.
Yeah, I feel like, at first when they recapped the plot with Ben, when he was talking to Polly, I was like, oh, this is great. We had the recap for the people who, because I don't know how often, I guess it must have been like a weekly show or something. But, and then we had the next scene, which was kind of a recap, and the scene after that, which is kind of a recap. And I'm like, all right, we get it. Come on.
So the work on the war machines continues. Polly keeps stacking boxes, and Ben just kind of slips away.
Oh, Polly should have supervised him better.
She actually does see him go, but she's just like, whatever,
He's
too tired to care.
Boxes anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, she continues stacking boxes. Ben gets into the other room. He pries the padlock off of the door to the outside, and geez, TFO.
Nice. This time for reals.
The doctor is just about to go looking for Ben himself when Ben shows up.
Yeah, this feels like one of those things where it's like, all right, this time I'm really going to go any minute now. I'm just going to go put my shoes on and I'm going to go. And you said he'd already been waiting for 4 hours. Come on, doctor.
And the DM is just like, fuck, come on. Like, we got to reunite the party, guys. Fuck. Fine. Ben is at the place now. So Ben shows up. He's out of breath. He's clearly, rushed here. Mm-hmm. And he tells the doctor that Polly's one of them now, and they've got a killing machine that's going to kill half of London.
Oh, only half? That doesn't seem so bad.
Yeah, that's an acceptable loss.
Well, on second thought, maybe we should do something about that.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Back at the warehouse, Major Green or whatever asks Polly what happened to the stranger, and she tells him that he escaped.
Yeah.
He starts getting upset when it becomes clear that she saw him escape and didn't, stop him or sound the alarm or anything.
She's like, well, it wasn't part of my instructions. I was told to stack boxes. Look at those boxes over there. They are all stacked. I did my part.
He's kind of asking her why she didn't stop him or whatever, and she's not really sure. She doesn't actually have an answer. And Major Green or whatever mentions that she's just an instrument of Wotan with no will or friends of her own. And she's like, oh, yeah, I think he was my friend.
Could it be that friendship can survive the brainwashing power of Wotan?
Uh-huh. So, yeah, it seems like that is probably why she let him go, whether it was conscious or not on her part.
Mm-hmm.
And Major Green or whatever orders her to be sent to Wotan for punishment.
Uh-oh.
Back in Sir Charles's office, Sir Charles doesn't believe Ben's story. He thinks it's impossible for a machine made by a man to come to life. And Ben's like, well, it fucking did.
That's a good argument.
Uh-huh. Summer wants to call the cops again, and the doctor's like, no, fucking ACAB, they can't handle this shit.
Yeah, man. Pay attention.
And, Ben's like, yeah, the war machines would fucking waste them. And Sir Charles is like, all right, fine, let's call the army.
I don't know if they'd do much better.
The doctor's like, dude, there are other machines. It's not like just this one. We're not going to find them all by noon tomorrow. We need to just take out Wotan itself.
Yeah, obviously. You gotta fight the boss.
Sir Charles is just like, I don't think so. And he leaves.
Dang it, Sir Charles.
And the doctor's like,
well, I fear we've riled him, my boy. You see, the official mind can only take in so much at a time. However, we must keep our weather eyes open. Come along.
I like that the official mind can only take in so much at a time. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I thought that was a good dig.
It reminds me of American politics sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit. Sir Charles goes and calls some minister or other. I don't really know the British government, but presumably they've got like Minister of Defense or something.
Sure. Sounds right.
And then a bunch of soldiers show up in Covent Garden where the warehouse is.
Well, good luck to them.
They get themselves all staged on the street. They're surrounding the warehouse. They're clearing civilians out of the area.
Wow, it sounds like we got like a pretty decent cast of extras here.
It's okay. Some of this is just in the dialogue, but yeah, there's a few extras.
A squad of 3 soldiers shows up and they're like, Squad A reporting, squads B through E are also in position. Just take orange for it.
So they get all ready. Sir Charles tells the army captain to go ahead and send his men into the warehouse as soon as he thinks they are ready.
Mm-hmm.
This might be a little more dangerous than we think.
Don't worry, Sir Charles. My lads can handle it.
All right. Well, we'll see how that turns out for you.
So the order is given. They breach the warehouse. Inside the warehouse, Major Green or whatever also orders an attack. He says that no one must escape, and we go into a long, extended sequence where the war machine and the soldiers and the workers all start attacking each other.
Oh, interesting that the workers also have to fight the soldiers. I mean, you'd think if you have war machines, you could kind of just let your workers hang out and chill. Let the war machine take care of it for you. But
yeah, seriously. And I have to say, like, the workers, not very effective fighters.
Yeah. These villains, man.
The war machine's main weapon, we saw previously that it has like a hammer arm for, melee range.
I am secretly hoping it just goes around and hammers each individual soldier. But I know that we also saw it do some sort of laser type deal.
Well, this time it starts spraying what was either fire extinguisher stuff or smoke. I wasn't
familiar. I kind of feel like it might have done that before. That might have been what I was thinking of when I said laser.
I wasn't completely sure if it was fire extinguisher or smoke. Probably fire extinguisher. But it seems like if this stuff gets sprayed at you at pretty close range, then you fall down. You're presumably either unconscious or dead. That's not clear. But you fall down.
Well, that sounds incredibly effective.
Also, for some reason, the soldiers' guns don't work.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
Yeah, this was not really explained, but I guess it's also some effect of the war machine.
It's putting out a field, some sort of a pulse, perhaps.
Like an anti-gunpowder field or something.
Why not?
And like, just to be clear, I don't mean that when they fire their guns, they are ineffective against the war machine. I mean, like, their guns are inoperable. Like, they don't fire.
Fair enough.
So the soldiers try to retreat and get out of the warehouse as the war machine keeps firing more and more either smoke or fire extinguisher. Some of the soldiers do make it outside of the warehouse, but the war machine just follows them out. It just like drives right through the doorway.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, busting a big hole in the wall.
Awesome.
The soldiers who have been waiting outside all start trying to shoot, but their guns are all inoperable as well.
Oh, better get out of there, guys.
There's even like a grenade or two that gets thrown at the war machine, but does not explode.
Worth a shot.
And yeah, the army captain is like, fuck this. We have to evacuate and retreat.
That is the wise choice.
Yeah, definitely. Sir Charles Summer is like, what the fuck? We can't just let this thing loose in London. And the army captain's like, dude, what the fuck can we do?
Run up to it and push it over.
Everybody starts retreating, except for the doctor, who basically waits until he's the last one there, and he takes a few steps toward the camera and strikes a dramatic pose as the words on the screen say, Doctor Who William Hartnell.
Wow. I feel like that was kind of a short episode, but you did mention, extended sequences of the soldiers fighting the war machines. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're going to sit here and make the listeners listen to and then there's a guy who is fighting a couple of workers and the war machine sneaks up behind him and bonks him with the hammer. And then there's another guy who sees that happen and tries to run away, but the war machine fire extinguishes him. And then there's another guy and...
To be clear, both of those things probably did happen in that sequence.
Nice. I'm really just here for people being bonked with that hammer, because that is hilarious to me that they have this super high-tech machine, and I'm just picturing it with this big cartoony hammer. And then, it does make like a big bonk sound when you hit someone with it.
In the testing of the war machine in the previous episode, it was like smashing boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Awesome. Well, I hope it was fun. I hope this was exciting. I hope it wasn't, kind of tedious and excruciating watching all that happen.
Yeah, this is a pretty fun one. The fact that it's on BritBox does help.
Yeah.
We can actually watch the extended sequences.
Excellent. I think the Ben Polly ship has some potential there once she's freed from the mind control, or when Ben joins her in the mind control. And we can all serve the machines.
So do we want to call it Pen or Bali?
I was thinking maybe Benali. Pollen?
I kind of like pollen, actually.
I mean, in some ways it reminds us of Barbarian, which is our other ship of an actual word formed by putting the names together. So maybe pollen can work.
Yeah, I think I'm going with pollen for now.
Nice. So what notes did you have for us, Kyle?
You know, I didn't write anything down specifically on this one, but I was just thinking about how you might expect in the credits, it always starts with Doctor Who William Hartnell. You might expect that it would, like, list the companions next, but it generally doesn't. It generally lists, like, a few NPCs and then, like, eventually gets to the companions.
Huh. I wonder if it's like, and special guest star, the companion.
Maybe it's like after William Hartnell, everyone's in alphabetical or something. I haven't paid that close attention.
Or maybe just the other actors are fairly well known and they want to feature that. Oh, look who we got. Look who's playing Sir Charles or whoever. It's someone you would have heard of if you had lived in the 60s. Well, cool. All right, Kyle. I suppose we can wrap it up. This is going to be a short one. We would like to thank Circuit23 for the awesome theme music that he composed for us, which I believe you can probably hear already behind my voice as I say these lines. You can check him out on Bandcamp and SoundCloud and write him an email at circuit.23@gmail.com. Kyle, thank you for watching Doctor Who and telling me all about it.
And thank you, Benny, for listening to me talk all about Doctor Who.
And listeners, thank you for listening to me, listening to Kyle talk about Doctor Who. We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to email us at thedoctorswatcher@gmail.com or message us on the probable War Machine AI apologists social media app at Dr. Watcher.
It's been telling me recently that they're finally changing their URL when I've looked at it. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess you should probably do that eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway, come back in 2 weeks for more War Machines.
Excellent. We'll be there. Bye.
Bye.
If you consider it's necessary, I'll have a word with the Commissioner of Police.
No, Sir Charles. I think the police might find it too big for them to handle at the moment.
Well, that is for them to decide. How many of them were there?
About 20.
And you say that they were obeying this machine?
Yeah. And they said something about all machines must be ready by noon tomorrow, then they attack.
Well, we shall see. It should be a fairly simple matter to surround this place and arrest 20 people.
And who'll do that, the coppers?
That is what the police are for.
But that machine will make mincemeat of them in 20 seconds
Then
flat.
presumably they'll send for the army, and that'll put a stop to this machine of yours.
I'm afraid we've got all our priorities mixed up. They may be able to destroy this machine, but in all probability there are others waiting to attack us.
Well, I'm sure there are.
Exactly. And we don't know their location. And I doubt very much if we can find them all by tomorrow noon. No. I think we should strike at what I believe to be the center of this menace. Wotan.
Oh, no, I hardly think that'll be necessary. There's no evidence to link Professor Brett with this machine of yours.
No link up. What about Polly?
I've had quite enough from you, young man. I shall handle this affair in my own way.